Hello and welcome back to the LoBo Designs channel. This is Heather Lynn of LoBo Designs, here today to show you how to quickly make this rainbow artwork on your Procreate canvas by using just a few brushes and the fill layer tool. So let's dive in. Starting in a blank Procreate canvas, today I'm going to be using my LoBo blocks brushes to create the rectangles. You can draw them manually if you prefer to. If you're looking for the LoBo blocks brush, I will add my link below. What I do for this is I will draw 4 rectangles, and then I normally will space them out a little bit just to make them even. And then in the selection tool, which is the arrow up at the top, I'll go to the selection and I want to do free form because I'm going to stretch this all the way out. I'm going to click and drag as far as I can on either side so that it overlaps on either side of the canvas. And I'm going to unselect so that this stretches from either side. And this is where your rainbow is going to start getting filled in. And at your top right where your colors are, you're going to start dropping your colors in. So you'll select your first color, drag and drop into the first black line, next color, and so on and so forth, all the way down the colors of the rainbow or whichever color palette you're using. You can create your own color palettes if you'd like to, entirely up to you. So now that we have all of those, I'm going to warp this. But first I want to go in and do the selection button. So I have this entire shape selected, and then I'm going to change the bottom option from freeform to warp. You'll notice that it changes the look and feel of how it has it highlighted, but now you can drag either corner, you can drag the middle, and just kind of maybe change it around a bit to see how you want your piece to flow. You can bubble it here, change it, bend it, however you'd like. And I think that looks good for how this is going to work. So my next step that I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill the layer. So I'm going to select True Black from my top color palette. If you don't have black in your bottom, you can always double tap the bottom of this to get to True Black. And then in your layers palette, underneath of the layer that you're working on, you're going to create a new layer. On the layer that you have drawn on, you're going to tap on the thumbnail and pick Select. You'll notice that lines will be drawn through your canvas. I don't know if you can see them on screen, but then you're going to go back to your new layer, tap on the thumbnail, and click Fill Layer. You'll notice I'm going to unhide my rainbow real quick so you can see. It created an exact copy of what we're working on directly underneath of the rainbow, which I will then tap on, go back to the selection tool. We're still in warp, and what I do here is I drag these corners out a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit of depth, because we're going to do a Gaussian blur to make this lift a bit off the canvas. So once that's done, you're going to deselect, tap the adjustments button up here, go to Gaussian blur, layer, then you're just going to drag on your canvas to where you want this to be. That looks good. And then what I'm going to do is drag this down a little bit. So selecting both of these layers at once, if you have one selected already, you can just little drag on the bottom and you can select them both at one time. I'm going to go back to uniform and I'm going to bring this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, and now it's time for me to write. So I'm going to deselect these, create a new layer above what I'm working on, go into white. I'm going to change my brush to my script brush. This is my LoBo script brush, using it around 18%. Whoop. And then I'm just going to write on top of my art. Here we go. Let's move this over a little bit. And then the same that we did before, True Black, you're going to create a new layer under what you're working on. Select the layer that you've drawn on, thumbnail, tap Select, back to your new layer, thumbnail, tap Fill. And then on that new layer where you've just filled in the black, I tap here, drag this down a little bit to create a little bit of a shadow. Back into your adjustments panel, Gaussian blur, layer, and lift that up off your canvas just a little bit to drag across and give it a little bit of depth. And there you go. Quick and easy rainbow background for you. And that concludes this tutorial. As always, feel free to join us in the Procreate group on Facebook for additional tips and tricks on how to use Procreate beyond the screen to turn your digital artwork into physical products. If you enjoyed this tutorial and would like to be notified of future tutorials, please hit the like button and subscribe below. Until next time, this is Heather Lynn of LoBo Design signing off. I'll holla at you later.